Well, here.
All right. So we've got a couple other people popping on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize in advance if my computer dies. I've had a virus all day and the IT guy just left to make sure that I could get logged on. So it's bizarre. It's a bizarre thing just popping up constantly. But I think it's okay now. So but just be forewarned. This is, I guess, our last meeting of the committee together, and I put together the final draft of the report. Jimmy, I did get your bullet points are in there. And I made some infographics to kind of display our points. Not an artist, you all know that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we can go over the report, and feel free to any kind of comments or any changes you think need to be made, please do let me know. Okay, and I think this is shared with you all.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't shared it. I'll do so a little bit. Okay, so the first section here is about the responsibilities for campaign finance compliance. And so we were looking at that in terms of like, what do they have to do in terms of reporting? So I took all this data that is just about like what they have to do, file a report, blah, blah, blah. And I put it into this infographic here. I know it's small on the report. Can you all see that okay? Or is it like too small for you?
If you could blow it up a little bit, Mary Jo, it'd be helpful.
Yeah, the younger eyes can probably read it. I'm not sure Bob and I can.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So I've told around with this a few times. It's a lot of information, but there is just so much information in campaign finance reporting that this boils it down to basically 5 little bullet points. I can add or subtract or maybe make another one, but as I said earlier on, we're trying to keep this as minimal as possible so for educational purposes. But any feedback? Thoughts? Too much? Too little? Too small?
Yeah.
I mean, colors?
There's no easy way to do it, Mary Jo. And I mean, I think this, this is good. Just on a random question, that change in the campaign finance deal that was slipped into the mask bill, does that fit into here anywhere, or how are we do that?
I did not put that in anywhere. And I'll be perfectly honest, I just completely forgot about it. Which it should be right on the tip of my tongue, right? But I just been so focused on making infographics that I forgot about putting that in. I
don't think the governor's probably going to veto it, I would assume.
Yeah, so right.
So it won't be law. What we might just have is, an asterisk somewhere with
okay.
Reference to the bill and what it would do.
Okay. On each of these, I tried to also make sure that I included the link to the campaign finance website for the State Board of Elections, so that if anybody sees this and really wants to know more, they can go right to that website and look it up. Because I think that's important to make sure that the official site is there, it's easily accessible to anybody reading this, and they can go find out a lot more detail should they want to.
Mary Jo, Bob Edmonds, what's the difference between the political committee in 02 and the political committee in 03?
So let's see, the contributions are in excess of 5,000 candidates from statewide office. This is statewide office, and then contributions for the cumulative total of 10,000. So this is like when, like, who has to report? So it's like you must report if your organization is running for or organized as a political committee. So if there's contributions in excess of 5,000 or with a cumulative total of more than 10,000, you have to report. Basically, I'm just splitting that out into two.
Okay. Just wondering if perhaps, like bolding some of the language in the bubble to
Okay.
show how they're different. I mean, as a graphic, I think it's really good.
Okay. That's good. That works. Anybody else? Brad?
I think it looks good. I think it's straightforward, easily digestible. So good job.
Okay. All right. I'm hearing nothing else. Okay, so these are the requirements for candidates or statewide offices, political committees, et cetera. And then this is about the campaign finance reporting process. So we had talked about how candidates might want to know a little bit more, just in easily digestible graphic on how and when they need to report. So, and how that process works. So this is sort of a process map where the state board sends the reporting requirements to the candidates. Then the candidates have to mail and have a postmark there, or they can drop them off, or they can submit them. Candidates have to be, the reports have to be filed quarterly or semi-annually, depending on the committee status. How to file, use the software, when to file, this reporting schedules change. And then again, you can get more details at the campaign finance website on how to file, or how that reporting process works. Again, very, very basic.
Should we also for this header here put local and state candidate campaign finance reporting process? Because municipal candidates are subject to this too.
So you went to say state.
We could just say local and state candidate, or local/state.
Sure. Will do.
And would it make sense to everyone else if it was clockwise as opposed to kind of going down and then up the other side? Would that be more readable for people?
Yes. That's a really good idea. Have you ever used SlidesGo?
I've not used that particular.
Because that's where this is from. And to renumber them was super difficult.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I just went with what it had. I was thinking the same thing, like go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. Just kind of a circle, but it was really, it made it ridiculously difficult.
I can take a crack at that as well if it's too difficult to
Absolutely.
edit that.
I welcome that.
Okay. All right. Let me.
Add to fix.
Okay. No pressure.
I would agree with that. It was just a pain. SlidesGo is not, they're already formatted. So if you want to change the format of it, it's like breaking an arm and a leg. Yeah.
Well, I will get to work on that then.
Yeah. And I was just trying to make them all sort of the similar formatting, with the colors and the fonts and so forth. Okay, then audits. So we had talked about this the last time about the audit process. which I always think is just fascinating. I'm kind of obsessed with audits. And I think that the public knowing that we have audits, is really important. Simply because they just need to know that this is done and that somebody is like checking all the bean counting, and making sure that the i's are dotted and the amounts matched and there's no one trying to cheat it, and that there is like different tiers of compliance and so forth. So I did, create one for the different tiers. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I know this is really small. I was thinking about probably trying to edit this down a little bit. But it's got so much valuable information in there. It's kind of hard to get anything out of there. But I do think audits are really important because both candidates need to know as a form of deterrence. But the public also needs to know as a form of like building that confidence in elections. The more they know that this actually happens, that candidates are watched, that's going to help them be more confident the elections work the way they're supposed to. Any thoughts about this one?
Yeah, the legibility is the only thing that I would be concerned about with some of those. I think that's a good start to it for sure. I think that
It's like, this is really legal language, so
Yeah.
it's hard to edit it without losing the meaning of it.
right. And I was just wondering if it would, I was thinking about like a structure where it would be more horizontal, I guess, the kind of the spread out of the actual text boxes, and we
Yeah.
could stack them like tiers.
Yeah,
And I can take a crack at that one as well while I'm working on the other one.
sure.
Okay.
And Mary Jo, let me just toss this out. I don't know if we can deliver, but if Brad can fix all this, fine. If we need some extra help, I could see if Anna, who's our graphic designer on campus, might pitch in and give us some help on some of these visuals.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, this is as good as it gets.
Oh,
Well, you've done
listen,
a great
You
job.
know,
trust
Oh
me.
yeah, and you did the hardest
better
part,
than
which is
I would do.
synthesizing it down.
Yeah, better than I would do. I'm just saying if
Mhm.
Brad can fix it, great. But if we think it would help to dress it up a bit, I could see if Anna could give it some time.
I would be thrilled, yeah.
Okay.
It's just, yeah. You don't understand, I'm a political scientist, not an artist.
Oh, believe me, you're way ahead of me, Mary Jo. This would be in
Bob, did you have
crayon and
something else?
handwriting if it were at me.
Bob, did you have something else to add?
No, that was essentially what I was gonna say is if you could rearrange it a bit so that you could expand the print,
Okay,
that would probably be helpful.
sounds good.
Put a Christmas tree in there and hang these on like ornaments maybe, or,
Yeah, I got you, yeah. Make it pretty.
yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm fine and absolutely. So this one, I just rearranged. I had one, the last time we met, it was actually had the bucket for the candidate, et cetera, down here. But in an effort to make it all the same slides go, style, this is the way it went. So it basically is just the same slide, same information, it's just rearranged. So that the regulations are affecting these, this is where the money can come from to these donors or to these donees. If that makes sense. The money is flowing up in this case. Same thing. Maybe needs restyle.
I'm not sure how you do it, but I mean, I think that's easy. Wow.
Go ahead.
You had like,
Lobbyist principal, we want the principal version here. PAL.
where are we?
and the
Oh, yeah,
contribution.
lobbyist principal. You know, I copied that from the state. That might be
Yeah.
wrong somewhere else.
Lobbyists don't have principles, right?
Okay, I'll fix it on the main one. Yeah. Okay. What I would say is maybe maybe I can give the slides to David, and if you can have your graphic person maybe we'll look at them and see if they can redo them. That was fine with me. I think that'd be great. And then if I can give them, I'll give them their original ones, not just this copy. And that way we can, you know, kind of reformat them. And I think that would be great.
Yeah, just send me whatever you have and I'll see what she can do with it.
Okay, sounds good.
Can I ask a technical question?
Sure.
On disallowed contributions, are they disallowed to political parties? Because I was thinking that's what that statute tried to get around, that it would allow the corporations to contribute to, that they could contribute to political parties, but then could distribute directly to candidates through that. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it that closely.
That's what I understand, that if corporation wants to give to like the Republican Governors Association, and then the RGA wants to give to the NCGOP, then the NCGOP could give to candidates. That's what I understand. But
Yeah,
again, it hasn't technically passed yet.
Right. I'm wondering if, should we run this by Lindsay Wakely just to say, Lindsay, this is, you know,
Sure.
this
Yeah.
is what we're putting out. You know, is there
Mhm.
anything, I mean, she's the expert, you know, and
Yeah,
none
no.
of us are experts on.
I was actually thinking about that when I was doing this. It's like it might be a good idea to have a legal mind look at this to make sure that it is really, really accurate. Because like I said, trying to boil some of this down from legalese into everyday language, you can sometimes lose the meaning.
Okay.
Probably a good idea. Okay, the next section is about the reporting, and this is the part, let me actually zoom out a little bit. This is the part that Dimney put in here. And you gave me access to this. So this is about needing more resources for reporting and their whole process, that there just really aren't enough resources for the North Carolina State Board of Elections to manage the campaign finance office, because they just don't have enough. So in section 1 here says it's overfunded or underfunded, not overfunded. And there's a budget request document that Dimney shared, and just talks about the kind of the needs that are requested for, this is for spring election integrity, counties, improving voter services. Modernization is the one where the campaign finance reporting software is from 2004. Well, I don't even remember 2004. So, you know, I mean, if it's that outdated, that's 20 years outdated. That's ridiculous. So if we can, this is one of our main things that we want to pitch, is that we would like more funding for updating the software, and for asking for more staff for the CFO. So you've got 2 attorneys assigned to the CFO. And in here, it would probably be like 1 or more people, like 2 more people, 2 more auditors to manage the workload. And, you know, so basically new software and a couple more people to manage the workload. You know, as North Carolina gets bigger and there's more people, you can have more people running. You need to keep up with the growth in campaigns and elections. Absolutely. Dimney she's still on. Did I, capture that correctly or?
Yes, I think that's perfect. I was just gonna add, I didn't know how to organize it into a graphic or anything, so I know it's a lot of information and kind of takes up more than a page, so definitely we can cut it down. I just wanted to make sure I included kind of
Sure.
everything that I thought was relevant, and then we can maybe go through and pick out pieces that could go into something a little more digestible, or just cut out some of the parts that are a little too wordy maybe, but I just wanted to make sure I covered
Yeah.
most of it, so.
No, I think that's great, and I think we need this information. Public needs the information. It'd be great to have some graphics. You know, David, I don't know whether your staffer might look at that and say, you know, I don't know whether you have a cartoon character overwhelmed by money and paper flying. You know, I'll leave that up to the more creative souls in our process. But Dimity, I think this is great. It's
Yeah, I
what we
think this information is really, really helpful. I absolutely, I mean, I think if the public found out that candidates are having to use 20-year-old software, you know, how can we make sure that everything is run effectively when you're using outdated software? Yeah, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, absolutely. So, we need funding for that. I would advocate for that all day long.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this section? And I would echo Bob saying, see if David's graphic person can come up with any brilliant ideas. I'm thinking exploding computers, like,
Yeah.
sometimes happens. But
Yeah.
really, the confidence thing is to me is the most important. If people know that our systems are working, you know, if the public finds out we're using 20-year-old Microsoft software, I mean, how confident are they going to be that campaign finance is run really well? If they find out we have a brand new software and it's up to date and candidates can use it more effectively and you can track this stuff, I think that's really, really important to make sure the public knows this and make sure candidates know it. You need to be using this. And you can track all sorts of donations for candidates. So yeah, I think it's great. And then this bottom section is just the campaign finance FAQs. So we talked about having FAQs, I think, in the main document. So this is basically what we would contribute to that main document on campaign finance, on basically what a contribution is, what hard money is versus soft money. What's the difference between a candidate and a candidate committee? You know, general public is overwhelmed by this stuff. If you start talking about these different things, they're like, what the heck? I thought they were just, you know, candidates and money. Like, no, you know, it's very, very convoluted and very complicated. You know, in defining what an independent expenditure committee is, just having that definition in front of people is, to me, really important. People can say, oh, that's where it is. That's exactly what it is in North Carolina. And so they can understand how campaign finance works better. I think it's really important. So there's just a whole list here of what the different entities are, kind of definitions, and then down to campaign expenditures. So, and there's links here for some of the code, some of the campaign finance manuals, some of the State Board of Elections stuff is in here. So just tried to make sure that it's easily accessible to the public and or to candidates, but basically just trying to define as much as we can to help people understand. Anything else do you think we should add?
Yeah, you know,
It seems awfully basic, Mary Jo, but should we
Yeah, it
couch
is.
the frequently asked questions as questions? What
Oh,
is,
you want me to like find out frequently ask questions?
instead of
this-
just saying campaign
Yeah.
contributions, just say, what is a campaign contribution?
Okay, sure,
Pretty basic stuff for me.
yeah.
And I don't know whether we want to include this or not, but and this goes to David's concerns about putting a positive, as much of a positive spin on the system. I know the state board and campaign finance does a good bit of training for treasurers and candidates and the like. We might just put like 2 or 3 bullet points on, you know, the opportunities for people who are brand new treasurers. You know, in other words, you know, you're not going into this completely cold. I think the state board has a pretty robust training program.
And it's very, very clear on the State Board of Elections website. Like it basically says, if you want to become a candidate, you have to have a treasurer and you need to go to training.
Right.
So it's really, really clear. We can put that almost like a link into it or just a couple bullet points. or
Yeah,
both,
yeah. I
really.
just think, you know, that helps in, you know, ensure confidence. And the only other thing I would say, now, Mary Jo, you will not be there on July 15th. Is that?
I actually don't know yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. But you will have a substitute if you should not be there, right? You'll get
I
one of
will,
these
yeah.
talented committee members.
Yeah.
Have we noted anywhere in here that the contribution limit is pegged to inflation? Like, I know we've used the 6,400 number multiple times, but that'll change every 2 years.
I don't think that is in here. I'll definitely put that in.
And now that I'm thinking about it, we have a $5,000 figure up above, is that right? Yeah, that's federal.
That's for, candidate.
Okay.
That's, if they have more than 5,000, then they have to, file the report.
Gotcha.
That's not how much somebody can get.
Yes. Yeah, I just didn't know the statutory requirement.
Yeah, one thing that Lindsay said when Dimney and Patrick and I met with her was there really has not been a comprehensive study of campaign finance in North Carolina. It's kind of like the legislatures, this is just way too complicated for us to get into. And she was pointing out how there's some thresholds. I mean, this doesn't need to be in the report, but some thresholds were so low that somebody could like spend $100 to put up some handmade signs for, you know, their school board candidate, and statutorily they should file some sort of report as you know, for independent expenditures. And, you know, that's well beyond the scope of what we're doing, but I did think the point that and maybe this doesn't go into our preliminary report, maybe this is something at the when we do the final report, but either the legislature or there needs to be some sort of fully staffed, fully funded commission to study the system and see where practical changes could be made, where philosophical changes should be made in how we go about it. So anyway, I just throw that out there that was a concern that Lindsay had.
And don't you think though that some of that is because if you're a candidate or if you're a legislator and you say, hey, we should really take a comprehensive look at campaign finance. I mean, you're opening up a massive can of worms.
Well, the only way things are going to get better is if somebody does that.
Yeah, I know. I get it. So when I was working earlier in my career with campaign finance, I talked to the state board. I can't remember the woman's name. Anyway, she was telling me that the way it works is when they want to make a change to campaign finance, like in other states, they'll actually propose a law or a change to to change the language. But in North Carolina, when that happens, the state board, if they see something that doesn't really work or it's not practical, or it's a problem in campaign finance, they'll work with the state legislature and kind of come to agreement on how to fix it. And they put it in the statutory rules, instead of like passing a whole new law. That makes sense. They just write the regulation into the state board versus making a whole piece of legislation so that they don't have to pass a new law, which would become just a political nightmare if you're trying to change it constantly, even to fix, really small technical issues. Now, maybe I could be completely wrong about that, but
I think that's how they do it, but it's because, like you said, nobody wants to get into the weeds, into the whole comprehensive deal. I mean, so it could be a school of government commission. It could be, a bar association commission. I just think that in a lot of ways, I think campaign finance is a bigger problem to good government than gerrymandering is in a lot of ways. But if nobody wants to study it because it's so complicated, I kind of think that ultimately I would say it needs to be studied no matter who is the responsible entity.
Well, Bob, we can talk about that in the final report that we do in December,
yeah.
January. Kind of pointing to broader recommendations once the elections are over.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I'm just throwing that out as if you want to reform campaign finance, you can't do it snipping around the edges.
And I mean, there has been scholarly work on it, but not in a comprehensive way. That way, we kind of look at like, are the limits too high or limits too low? How do candidates emerge? So there's different areas of peer-reviewed research looking at campaign finance, but it's definitely not a comprehensive look at North Carolina. But there's a good group of people that could help with that too. If you want scholars on there.
Of course.
You might not, you may not. Okay, so back to this report. So that's basically the report right now. So what I'm hearing from you all is we're gonna get the slides to David, and David is going to give it to his graphic person to sort of reformat, see if we can make them prettier, easier to understand, that kind of thing. Tweak and make some changes, general changes to the report. And then maybe if we can get that done in the next couple weeks, we'll send it out to you before the July 15th meeting. Does that work?
And Mary Jo, if we
Yeah.
have questions as we look at those visuals, I'm thinking of those 2 pages that Dimney was talking about. Would we communicate with you and Dimney about, we want to make sure we understand that appropriately if we're going to turn some of that into visuals?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. that good? Any other like concerns, questions?
Yeah, great job, Mary Jo. We really appreciate your leadership on this and your students' assistance.
My artwork is just beautiful.
Yeah.
No, it's been a lot of fun, Bob. My students had a good time. They really learned a lot. I will tell you. I mean, they thought campaign finance was just one thing. They had no idea how complicated it was. So I may have actually overwhelmed them.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this draft with you all so that you can like look at it more in depth, read it over, see if there's any other errors or anything like that. And then I'll share just the slides with David to work on the graphics. Okay,
So,
good deal. And hopefully maybe in a week or two, we'll get the final draft out to you.
all right.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David. All right. See everybody.
Bye.